Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Alex, and this is episode number 3, where we take a deep dive into the journeys of entrepreneurs who turned every no into a yes.
That's right, and
Tune in to learn how you can do the same.
exactly.
I'm so excited to introduce you to my co-host for this episode. She's an absolute whiz when it comes to understanding the tech world. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Alex. Thrilled to be here.
So today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of Larry Ellison and his kind of crazy plans for AI. You know him as the co-founder of Oracle, the guy who built a database empire. Right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, you probably recognize the name.
Definitely. Big name in tech.
But his story, well, let's just say it's got more twists and turns than you might expect. So we dug into some biographies, articles, even some interviews.
Trying to get the full picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
From his childhood, which had some rough patches,
To see the least.
to building this tech empire and what he's up to these days.
Should be fascinating.
Definitely. So let's start at the beginning, shall we? Ellison was actually born in New York City, but spent most of his childhood in Chicago.
Raised by his aunt and uncle, right?
Yeah, after he got pneumonia as a baby, he ended up living with them.
Wow. Must have been tough to be separated from his mom so young.
Yeah, and sadly, his biological father passed away when he was still young, too.
So he faced some real challenges early on.
He did, and it almost seems like those experiences really shaped his whole outlook on life.
Kind of like forged his personality.
I think so. In fact, he once said, quote, "I have had all of the disadvantages required for success."
Huh. That's an interesting way to put it. Like, he saw those tough times as almost essential.
Right. You kind of have to wonder how those early experiences shaped his drive, his resilience.
Definitely seems to have fueled him.
And it didn't stop there. He also had to deal with dyslexia growing up, which probably made school pretty tough.
I can imagine. Makes you wonder how he managed to navigate all that.
Well, that's where we see him start to break away from convention. After his adoptive mom passed away, he actually dropped out of the University of Illinois.
Really?
Yeah, and later on, he left the University of Chicago after just one semester.
Wow, twice. Most people would see that as a major setback.
Right, but with Ellison, it's like he almost needed to break free from that traditional path to find his own way.
Forge his own path. Sounds like he was never one to follow the crowd.
That's for sure. And that independent streak becomes a defining part of his journey as an entrepreneur.
Makes sense.
So picture this. It's 1977. Ellison, a college dropout with this burning desire to build something.
The classic entrepreneur story, right?
In a way, yeah. He co-founds this company called Software Development Laboratories,
Which later becomes, wait for it.
Oracle.
right.
But those early days, they were a far cry from the tech giant we know today.
I bet. The tech world back then was like the Wild West.
Totally. Fierce competition, limited funding, and the technology itself was changing so fast.
Must have been chaotic.
Absolutely. But in the middle of all that, Ellison's personality really shines through, this unwavering belief in his vision, even when everyone else was telling him he was crazy.
Sounds familiar. Happens to the best of them.
He once said, and I love this quote, "When you innovate, you've got to be prepared for people telling you that you are nuts."
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's about right.
And he definitely wasn't afraid to shake things up, challenge the status quo.
Which I'm sure rubbed some people the wrong way.
Oh, absolutely. His leadership style has been called, well, let's just say not everyone's cup of tea.
Aggressive. Demanding.
All of the above. But you can't deny that it was effective.
That's the thing with these larger-than-life figures. They're not always the easiest to work with.
True. But that intensity, that drive to be the best, it played a huge role in Oracle's success. He himself said, "Great achievers are driven not so much by the pursuit of success, but by the fear of failure."
Interesting. So it's like he was more motivated by avoiding failure than achieving success.
It's a fascinating perspective, right? This constant drive to stay ahead of the curve. Almost like he was fueled by this fear of falling behind.
Makes you wonder what that kind of pressure does to a person. But it's definitely a part of what makes him such a fascinating figure. And of course, it leads us to another big part of Oracle's story. The legal battles.
Oh yeah, they haven't exactly shied away from a fight, have they?
Nope. From intellectual property disputes to antitrust cases, it seems like they've been in and out of court forever.
And these weren't just small-time disagreements either.
Major legal showdowns. The kind that could sink a company.
Exactly. But Ellison, with his personality, let's call it, he never backed down.
Never surrendered.
He fought tooth and nail for what he believed in, which really speaks to his resilience.
Definitely. And it probably shaped the company's trajectory, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Those battles were formative, revealed a lot about Ellison's tenacity and willingness to fight for what he thought was right.
It's pretty amazing how he didn't just survive those fights, though. He actually seems to thrive on them.
You think that competitive spirit is just part of who he is?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, it's not just business either, right? Look at his sailing. He's just as competitive there.
True, always pushing to win.
Like, that need to be the best is just ingrained in him.
So he builds Oracle, this hugely successful company, but he doesn't stop there.
Always looking for the next challenge.
He seems to always be a few steps ahead of everyone else, too. Like he knows where the industry is going before anyone else does.
Like a chess master planning his next move.
Exactly. And then he makes these bold moves, these huge
Yeah,
bets,
sometimes they pay off big time.
like with cloud computing.
But then there's the stuff that just makes you scratch your head, like buying that Hawaiian island.
One eye.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he's playing this game and he loves the thrill of it.
And he's not afraid to take risks, which I guess is part of what makes him so interesting.
Definitely keeps things unpredictable.
But it's not all about competition and winning, though, right?
Mm.
He's also using his success to try and make a difference.
His philanthropy is pretty impressive.
He's put a lot of money into medical research, particularly fighting aging and disease.
And he's not just writing checks either. He's actually involved trying to move things forward.
It's like he feels this responsibility to use his wealth and influence to make the world a better place.
And he's got the resources to do it.
So let's talk about what he's focused on these days.
Yeah.
He's obviously still involved with Oracle.
But he's also making waves in the world of AI.
This is where things get really interesting.
Hmm.
He's put a ton of money into this project called Stargate.
Stargate.
Yeah, it's a collaboration with SoftBank and OpenAI.
To build a network of data centers across the US.
Huge data centers designed specifically for AI development.
So he's really betting big on AI.
He sees it as the next big thing, and he's not just focused on the technology itself. He sees the potential to use AI to solve all kinds of problems.
Like in healthcare.
Imagine early disease detection, personalized treatments, maybe even cures for diseases that have been around for centuries.
The possibilities are kind of mind-blowing.
And it's not just healthcare. He's looking at AI for education, sustainability, even space exploration.
Sounds like he thinks AI can change the world.
I think he does. And he's definitely trying to lay the groundwork for a future where AI is everywhere.
It's a bold vision.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But it also raises some important questions about how we develop and use AI ethically.
We need to make sure it benefits everyone, not just a select few.
So as we learn more about Ellison and his work, one of his quotes keeps coming back to me. He said, "Life's a journey. It's a journey about discovering limits." What do you think he meant by that?
It's a simple statement, but it's got a lot of depth. I think he's saying that we should always be pushing ourselves, testing our boundaries, seeing what we're capable of.
Not being afraid to fail.
Exactly, because those failures can teach us so much.
It's like we often set limits on ourselves based on fear or doubt or past experiences. But what if we challenged those limits?
What if we approached life with the same kind of fearlessness that Ellison has?
Maybe we'd be surprised at what we could accomplish.
And who knows, we might even have some fun along the way.
So it's not just about pushing boundaries for the sake of it.
Right, it's about using that drive, that innovation to actually solve problems.
Make a real difference in the world.
Exactly. I think that's what sets Ellison apart from some of these other tech guys.
Yeah, and he does it with this crazy combination of boldness and practicality.
He's not afraid to dream big, but he's also grounded in reality.
He understands that these problems are complex.
And that solutions need to be practical.
He's not just throwing money at things either.
He's building the infrastructure, the partnerships.
Yeah, he's really trying to create lasting change.
Like with Stargate, he's not just funding research, he's building this whole ecosystem for AI development.
Bringing the best minds together, giving them the resources they need.
It's like he's trying to launch the future of AI.
And if he's right, it could change everything.
But it also brings up that whole issue of ethics.
Right, we have to be careful with this technology, make sure it's used responsibly.
It's got so much power.
We need to make sure it benefits everyone.
Not just a select few.
So it's this balance between innovation and responsibility.
Building a future that's not just technologically advanced, but also fair and equitable.
And I think Ellison gets that.
He's talked about the need for ethical guidelines for AI.
Making sure it's used for good.
That's the key.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Larry Ellison's world,
So what can our listeners take away from Ellison's story? What are some concrete steps they can take to apply these lessons to their own lives?
I think the first step is to identify your passions. What are you truly excited about? What problems do you want to solve?
Once you've identified your passions, the next step is to develop a clear vision for how you want to make a difference in the world. What impact do you want to have? What legacy do you want to leave behind?
And then it's about taking action. Don't be afraid to take risks, to experiment, and to step outside your comfort zone. And remember that setbacks are inevitable, but they don't have to define you. Use them as opportunities to learn and grow.
And most importantly, don't give up on your dreams. Ellison's story is a testament to the power of perseverance. If you have a vision, a passion, and the determination to succeed, anything is possible.
It's inspiring to see someone like Ellison who faced, so much adversity early in life rise to become such a force in the tech world. It really underscores that anything is possible if you just set your mind to it and persevere.
Yeah, and that's exactly the message we want to leave you with today. If Larry Ellison, with his challenging childhood and unconventional path, can achieve what he has, what's stopping you from pursuing your own dreams?
His story is a testament to the power of perseverance, believing in your vision, and never letting the naysayers hold you back.
As you go about your week, we encourage you to reflect on Ellison's journey and think about how his lessons can be applied to your own life.
All right, like what hurdles are you facing? How can you transform them into opportunities? What innovations are you passionate about pursuing?
Remember, success isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about confronting them head on, learning from them, and using them as stepping stones to reach new heights.
So go out there, embrace that inner drive, and make those dreams a reality. Until next time, keep those Money Talks conversations going.
See you on the next Money Talks.